Hello, people. Happy Sunday. Greetings from New York. The reason my camera is trained upon a picture in my living room and not on me as I tell a story is because I feel like I look really horrible. Actually, I do look really horrible. It has nothing to do with feelings or not. Um, I'm coming down with a cold and my back still really hurts from yesterday, and I got a haircut last night, which is really short, and I have not come to my acceptance phase of it yet, even though I have to. It's like really short. Picture Katy Perry when she first got her locks shorn, although I do not have the looks nor talent of Katy Perry. Anyway, today's topic is a story time about 9/11. My ex-husband, my son's father, a person to whom I'm still married actually, but we haven't lived together in years and years. He was a firefighter in New York City for about 29 years. He retired in '05. He's now a school bus driver. Um, he was at the World Trade Center bombing in '93 and again, of course, in '01. And I want to tell you a story about how that impacted me personally and what it was like for me. Even though, of course, everyone in the whole world has a story about 9/11. Um, but as a wife of a firefighter, it was pretty surreal. I'm glad he made it through, but many, many people didn't. And I went to a lot of those funerals and knew a few of those firefighters personally. Anyway, on the morning of 9/11, I was on my sofa recuperating from surgery. I had gastric bypass surgery on August 23rd of '01. So 9/11 was only a couple weeks after that. I had some complications and I was nursing a fever and just was in a lot of pain and felt terrible. And it was in the morning, and my son, who was, let's see, 3.5 at the time, was downstairs with me watching one of his cartoons. I think it was Franklin. He says it was Caillou, but I think it was Franklin the Turtle. And all of a sudden the phone rang, and it was my mother. And it was very strange to hear from her to begin with because I don't really have much of a relationship with her, nor did I at the time. And she said, "Turn on the news, put on the news." And so I did, and my son was complaining, and he wanted to watch his cartoons, but I put on the news, and the very first thing I saw was um, a photo of the top of the building burning. It was like a close up, like a zoom camera of just a little bit of a fire. And my first thought was, wow, that's really high up. I wonder how the guys are going to get up there to put it out. And then I heard my husband upstairs banging around and like talking to himself loudly. I found out later that he was on the phone to one of his firefighter friends there on his squad, and he was putting on his bunker gear up there, which I didn't realize until he came downstairs. And I said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "Where the hell do you think I'm going?" And I realized as things were unfolding on the screen what was happening downtown. And so Steve left, and he said he would be in touch with me, but that he had to get down there, even though it was his day off, of course, to help all the guys that were going to be dispatched down there. So hours went by, and I was worried, and I was feverish, and so I thought I was like imagining or hallucinating a lot of the events, and I of course couldn't stop looking at the TV, and it was just incredible what was happening. It was like a horror movie come to life, of course. And he got down there right as the first tower was coming down, and he went to the Bronx, and then they set up like a oh God, I forget now what it's called, but the guys either went in the fire trucks or on buses over to where they were then dispatched to figure out like the best way they could help. And Steve didn't go over there basically until it was a recovery and a rescue mission, which of course, was then soon aborted because they realized how few people there were to rescue. I mean, everybody was just dust. They were just blasted to smithereens from the fire and the impact, and the fire lasted for days and days and days. He didn't come back for about 3 days, and then he kept going back again. He was working at Fresh Kills, where they shipped all of the debris and, of course, some of the obliterated bodies. And he was also over at the heap, the pile, they called it, that was still on fire. And I asked him later when he came back. I mean, he was really in shock. But I said, well, did you find people? Like, what did you see? What did you find? And he was crying, and he just said it was too much. It was too much. It was too many. It was too much was all he could say. And then later he told me that when they came upon a body, it was hard to even get that individual into a body bag because they were so demolished. They were so smashed. It was like, I don't know how to say this without sounding disrespectful to the dead, but the way he described it was that it was like jelly. It was like smashed people inside skin. And it took many people to even get them into a body bag. And he found other individuals there in the pile that the way he described it was, he goes, it was something like Dakota would play with out in the yard after he killed it. It was like a small dead animal that was worried. And he found just parts of people and pieces of glass that had like blood actually in the glass. Found a lot of personal remains, a lot of watches and jewelry and wedding bands. And then after all that became, about the funerals and the services. And I went with him to a few of them until I couldn't really take it anymore. It was too much for me. It was too sad. One of the guys was someone who had worked on cabling trees in our yard. He had like a tree service as a side business from being a firefighter. One guy I knew was really young, and he had young kids and a pregnant wife, and it was all just really a blur. And so, I mean, that's basically my 9/11 story. Apropos of nothing. I mean, there's nothing about my channel that is sequential or, it's not like we're near the anniversary or anything. But I know that a couple weeks ago I mentioned that I was going to talk about it a little bit. So that's it for now. I might take a nap later. I'm not feeling great today. I'm going to work tomorrow. I did not wind up going to Connecticut today because I don't feel well, and also we're going to get another snowstorm tonight or tomorrow. They keep changing it, but last I heard we're going to get like 10 inches of snow, and I'm just so over it. But hope everyone's having a good day, and I'll check back in with you later. Peace out.